You're scrolling right now, maybe half listening. There's someone in your life who comes to mind without you trying. They're polite, sharp, funny at the right moments. The kind of person everyone describes as easy to be around. You've laughed with them, trusted them, maybe even defended them. And yet, there's this tiny tension in your body you never fully explained. A feeling you ignore because nothing is technically wrong. This is how it always starts. Because the most dangerous patterns don't look dangerous at all. They look normal. They look charming. They look like emotional intelligence. But here's the uncomfortable shift. Empathy and strategy can look identical from the outside. And if you've ever felt confused after an interaction, replayed conversations in your head, or wondered why you feel smaller around someone who's so nice, stay with me. Quietly. This isn't about diagnosing anyone. One habit means nothing on its own. What matters is repetition, direction, who benefits over time. This is about recognizing patterns before they cost you your clarity, your boundaries, or your sense of self. Not to judge, not to label, to protect yourself. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And the first sign is so subtle, most people miss it completely. They're warm when you least expect it. A message at the perfect time. Attention right when you start pulling back. In those moments, they feel present, caring, almost magnetic. And you think, maybe I was wrong about them. But notice this. There's no inner conflict when they switch. No confusion, no guilt. One day they're engaged, affectionate, curious about your life. The next day, they're distant, dry, emotionally unavailable. And nothing happened. No explanation, no transition, just a change in temperature. That's because the connection isn't emotional, it's functional. The warmth isn't about closeness, it's about leverage. Affection appears when it creates attachment, disappears when you're already close. The clearest warning sign is this. Their warmth returns the moment you question them, hesitate, or take a step back, but fades the second you're available again. That's not mood, that's calibration. Remember this one line. Consistency reveals intention. And once you start watching when the warmth shows up, you'll begin to notice something even more unsettling. How they quietly test what you'll tolerate next. It starts so small you almost dismiss it. A joke that lands a little off. A comment wrapped in humor that makes you pause, then doubt yourself for pausing at all. You tell yourself it's nothing, that you're overthinking. And when you finally react, the answer comes fast. Relax, you're too sensitive. But here's what's really happening. They're not joking, they're measuring. This isn't humor, it's hierarchy. Every subtle provocation is a test to see how much disrespect fits before you push back. If you stay quiet, the line moves. If you laugh it off, it widens. And there's a detail most people miss. When you mirror the same joke back to them, they don't laugh. They bristle. They get cold. Because it was never play, it was positioning. That reaction is the tell. A calm boundary in that moment does something powerful. It doesn't escalate, it reveals. Remember this, a calm boundary exposes hidden intentions. And once you see how someone reacts to a simple limit, you're ready to notice the next shift. The moment their empathy starts sounding a little too perfect. They listen closely. They nod at the right moments. They repeat your words back to you with almost perfect timing. On the surface, it feels like understanding, but underneath, something is missing. You feel heard, yet strangely untouched, as if the conversation passed through you instead of landing with you. They say exactly what you need to hear, and somehow, by the end of it, you're the one adjusting, agreeing, giving in, doing what they wanted all along. That's because this kind of empathy isn't felt, it's learned. Emotions are treated like a language to master, not a bond to share. The goal isn't connection, it's influence. The clearest signal shows up the moment you say no. Watch how fast the warmth drains, how understanding turns into distance, irritation, or subtle guilt. Real empathy doesn't vanish when it's frustrated. Remember that. Real empathy survives frustration. And when you start noticing how quickly care disappears after resistance, you'll be ready for something even more destabilizing. the silence they use when words stop working. They don't argue, they don't explain, they disappear. Messages go unanswered, the tone goes flat. You're left replaying everything you said, wondering what you did wrong. The tension grows quietly until it's almost unbearable, and then, just when you're about to pull away, they return. Calm, charming, as if nothing happened. That shift feels like relief, and that's the trap. This isn't distance, it's conditioning. Your nervous system learns to crave the moment the silence breaks, so instead of looking for truth, you start chasing relief. Over time, something subtle changes. You lower your expectations. You feel grateful for a reply. A neutral message feels like affection. That's the warning sign. When the absence hurts more than the behavior that caused it, control has already started. Remember this clearly. Patterns matter more than apologies. Because once silence works, it gets reused. And what comes next explains why their apologies never seem to last. When you finally confront them, watch closely what actually changes. The words may sound perfect. The tone gets serious. There might be tears, long explanations, even promises that feel sincere in the moment. For a brief window, the behavior shifts, just enough to calm you down, just enough to keep you there. But look deeper. What bothers them isn't that they hurt you, it's that the pattern was exposed. The discomfort comes from losing control, not from causing pain. That's the difference that explains everything before this. Guilt requires empathy. What you're seeing here is calculation. How much change is needed to stop the consequences? And the clearest signal is timing. Their remorse lasts exactly as long as your anger, your distance, your threat to leave. Once you soften, the old behavior quietly returns. Same pattern, new excuse. That's the moment clarity hurts but frees you. Remember this without negotiating it. No change means the apology was strategy. And once you understand this, the question isn't why they act this way anymore, it's how long you're willing to ignore the pattern. So now take a breath and be honest with yourself. How many of these did you recognize? Not in them at first, but in how you started to adapt, justify, and shrink. If any of these patterns felt familiar, you're not weak and you're not imagining it. You're noticing. And that's where power comes back. Write the numbers in the comments. Save this if you need to come back to it with clearer eyes. Share it with someone who keeps doubting their own reality. Because awareness doesn't make you cold, it makes you safe. Trust patterns, not promises. Self-awareness is protection.